Thank you so much for joining us today. Our segment is all about the arts. The arts are the answer, and we have so many beautiful, wonderful examples in Monterey County. Each month, we take a look at different examples, maybe in education, maybe in juvenile justice, maybe in the economy, creative economy, so many different ways. But today, we're focused on the arts as healing. And we have a very full roster for you today. It's so, so exciting. We have Jennifer Williams with us from Natividad Foundation. We have Ernesto Altamirano, who's just started a new organization called Art Essentials. Richard DeVink is going to be here with us from Healing Guitar. And Gail Comer is going to be with us from Hidden Hills Ranch, which incorporates the arts in a much bigger program. So, Jennifer, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
So can you tell us, how do you incorporate the arts into Natividad, and what's your role?
So in Natividad, I have been there for 17 years, and when I first started, the hospital had white walls.
I remember those walls.
It
very
was
blank.
It was very blank, very sterile.
Yeah.
It was hard to find anything.
Yeah.
So one of the things that we first started with was adding color. So we painted, and we brought in different themes that reflect Monterey County. So we have vibrant heritage on one floor, sea treasures on one floor, and on the first floor we have greens and blues to reflect the fields and the ocean.
That's beautiful.
So as soon as we added color, we realized the next step was to actually add art. And now you can find your way around, and the hospital is completely different than it was 17 years ago.
It's extraordinarily vibrant, Jennifer. It's really extraordinary to me to walk in. And the other thing that I love is how you've paired, I don't know if it's everywhere in the hospital, but I noticed in many of the wings you're pairing themes.
Yes.
How does that work, and is it everywhere, and how do they make that happen?
So there are a couple places that are particularly relevant with themes. We started with public areas, which were less theme oriented and more around making a welcoming environment for people. But once we finished some of the public areas, we moved to specific units. And so the first one we did was the pediatric unit. It was really obvious. The kids had just white walls. They needed to get out of bed, go for a walk, and you walked around a circle with white walls. So we said, let's bring sea treasures to the pediatric unit. So now they have blues and flooring that looks like the ocean. They have starfish and coastal scenes. And so we want you to get out of bed and walk around and find the starfish. So it really was an easy thing to do because there was one nurse, Minnie, who said, I'm not retiring until you redo this pediatric unit.
That's amazing.
So we found the money through donations and we redid the unit, and Minnie retired. But she said
with a full heart.
Yeah, she actually got to see that happen before she left. So some kids don't actually get to see the ocean. They live in Salinas, but they've never been to the ocean, so we brought the ocean to them.
Beautiful. And can you describe some of the other places where you have those themes, and maybe also talk about which one is, can you talk about your favorite?
So I have two favorites.
Oh, two,
it's
that's good.
Actually probably four, but I'll talk about two. One in particular is called First Breath. And it's a series of black and white photographs that were taken by
my gosh.
And a diver photographer, Scott Campbell, and he did a collection exhibition called One Breath, and he dove and he took photographs without oxygen. He just took as many pictures as he could with one breath.
Wow.
But he came to the hospital, he set up a studio and took pictures of pregnant women, newborn babies. One of them was a nurse who, her photograph is on the wall. She had her baby that afternoon. And so you get there, and this is called First Breath. So the baby's first breath. It's a wonderful, beautiful exhibition. It leads into the unit where we deliver babies and where we have our mother-infant unit and our neonatal intensive care unit. So the art is all throughout that unit as well.
And each one, as I remember, is really exquisite.
They are incredibly beautiful pieces.
Very compelling.
They are. And I see people every day walking down that corridor and stopping at each photograph to look.
Yeah.
So that's,
Take it in.
I know that it means a lot to people, and it tells people that we care. I think that's what that message is about for me, is that it shows people that we love every family, we love every baby, and we think they're treasures, and so we've captured that through art. And then I have another favorite, which is new, and it's a collection that was donated by a friend of a family whose son died in our intensive care unit.
Yeah.
So he was a surfer, and he survived a great white shark attack off of the Santa Cruz coast probably 10 or 12 years ago. I think his nickname is Shark Boy. So amazing background, but then he was in a car accident.
Oh my gosh.
And he was in our intensive care unit for 11 days and didn't make it.
Yeah.
But his family wanted to have a legacy there for their son because they appreciated the care so much. They loved the team, and even though the outcome wasn't what we wanted, they saw a lot of value in what happened and the care that was given. So the family donated a collection of work that was done with different colored backgrounds, and a second artist came in and painted in sea life.
Wow.
So there's one called Dolphin Sanctuary. When he was attacked by a shark, he was surrounded by a pod of dolphins that helped him get away from the shark. So that one was really dedicated in his memory. And then there's some light-filled pieces that bring in the light that comes through the windows, a big blue whale. And so it's inside the waiting room for the intensive care unit and in the outside areas for the intensive care unit. So it's beautiful. It's all in memory of their son, and it recognizes what he cared about in life. And so that's been a special thing to be part of.
Wow. So I never thought about the idea of the artwork really telling your story, like you as the hospital, that you care. And that's such a gorgeous thing. It's so scary for everybody, right? It's scary for the family, it's scary for the patient, it's scary for anybody to have to go into the hospital. You just, your anxiety level is up there. Even as a friend going in, sometimes you just feel that anxiety right away. So in the hospitals where there is a lot of artwork, it just gives people so much to be able to do and to think about. Can you talk a little bit about what people have told you about their experience, especially people who may have been there before when there wasn't anything, and now all of a sudden they walk in and instead of their blood pressure going up and up and up, it's going down a little bit.
So the idea, the science behind it is a positive distraction. So you're so focused when you go in the hospital on what's wrong with me or what's wrong with the person that I love.
What's going to happen?
Exactly.
How can I handle it?
I don't know. I have no idea what might happen. And so artwork on the walls helps people to have something else to focus on. In the patient rooms, there's research that backs up that it reduces blood pressure to give you something to focus on, reduces the use of pain medication. We've incorporated it in our acute rehabilitation center into the actual physical therapy.
That's awesome.
So we used to say, we need you to take 20 steps today. Maybe you've had a stroke and you're learning to walk again. And now it's take a walk to Carmel Beach because we've completely outfitted the unit and the corridor leading up to it.
That's phenomenal.
With pictures from Monterey County.
Wow.
And I was actually a patient there. Last year, I had physical therapy. I was trying to stop using a walker and a cane. And so I had outpatient physical therapy. And so just waiting to go in, I had things to focus on and not think about, okay, am I going to pass all my neurology tests today? And then when we would go for walks and see how far I could go without a cane, we were walking to the forest or to the ocean. And for me as a patient, that completely changed my experience of, in the past, having just blank walls to look at. I'd been a patient there before, my husband had been, and there were just white walls. How many steps can you take? So there's more motivation, I think, for people to get out of bed and to embrace their healing. One of the things that's very special is a 40-foot mural by artist Jose Ortiz and students from Hijos del Sol. And that is, it's called El Encargo. And it means
I've
in
seen
the
that
care
one. It's really giant, right?
It's the jewel of everything that we've done at Natividad. And it's exactly what you said, where it begins on one end with a patient and the family going into an MRI machine, and caregivers who look a little bit intimidating because they're doctors. You don't know what test is going to happen.
Uniforms.
Yeah, all white coats, and so that can be scary and intimidating. But then it moves to the center of the mural with a newborn baby or a unborn baby in the arms of what is Natividad. So there's equipment, there's doctors. It's a little bit scary, but when you're here, you're in the care of Natividad. And then at one end you can think of them as ancestors or angels, depending on your culture, and they're there to supporting you as well. So between the caregivers, the equipment, your family, your ancestors, the angels, everybody comes together to support you in the care of Natividad. And that was done because we wanted people from all cultures to feel less afraid and to know that you are welcome at Natividad, and we want you to come here because we want you to be healthy.
And am I right that that's exactly like when you first come in?
It is if you come in either the outpatient or main lobby, you're going to see that. You can't miss it.
It's amazing.
And it's gorgeous. It was difficult to put a 40-foot mural up at a county hospital, but Jose Ortiz is amazing, and he worked with us, and we got it. It took 2 years, but we got it done.
That's so amazing. So one of the things that you and I have had a chance to talk about in the past, or even just earlier today, is that you talked about this, you referred just recently to the science behind all of this. And can you share, I understand you went to a conference at Stanford, all about the arts and healing. Can you share just a little bit about some of the things that they talked about that seem especially relevant to the hospital setting?
So at Stanford, the conference I went to was looking at art in a hospital setting, but beyond just pieces on artistic expressions on the wall. So they were incorporating music and patients actually doing art therapy.
Wonderful.
And so it's Stanford. They had looked at all of the literature. They've done some research themselves to show that when you engage a patient in artwork, whether it's viewing the artwork or actually participating in creating it or listening to it, you can actually improve their health outcomes. So you can lower blood sugar levels, lower blood pressure, and motivate people to get better sooner. And so we had already started what we were doing, but it really validated that what we knew instinctually was backed up by a center like Stanford and a lot of research that's been done.
That's what I love, what's happening in neuroscience and all kinds of places. You know, I look everywhere to see what is happening, and I always want to say the arts are the answer, but I need to be able to back that up. So that's really, really fascinating. So we just have a few seconds left. Is there anything else you want to make sure people know about what you think with all this?
Well, I just want to thank the Arts Council for supporting us and being able to do some of the projects we've done. One of the most recent was bringing art to the mental health unit, where we have some patients who are sometimes overlooked and forgotten, and it was very meaningful to bring art and color to those patients. So we will continue to make sure that we get all of the units finished with exhibitions, and we're looking at expanding to do some more art therapy for patients, music therapy, and anything that we can do that actually helps people get better faster.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. It's just been such a great pleasure to talk with you today.
Thank you.